Everyone, I'm Jess from Illumination, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between dilation and effacement when it comes to childbirth. So today I have here my balloon uterus and baby ping pong ball. So you may have seen a demonstration similar to this a few years ago. It went a bit viral, and I'm actually going to include the link to the original version of this video down below. But we'll just get started. So as I said, this clear balloon here is going to be the uterus, giving us a clear picture of the ping pong ball, which is going to represent the baby's head. Down below here, the opening of the balloon is actually signifying our uterus. Not our uterus, it's actually signifying our cervix, which during pregnancy is long and closed. So for most of pregnancy, it's going to be long, closed. Ours is actually a bit open, about 1 centimeter open. But as we near the end of pregnancy and getting closer to delivery, we're going to see this cervix soften, shorten, and thin out, which is called effacement, as well as it start to open, which everyone is quite familiar with. It's called dilation. So what many women will feel during, as we near the end of pregnancy, is Braxton Hicks contractions. So it happens to everyone, little practice contractions. You may not feel them, but it's basically a hardening of the uterus. So that's when we're having this tightening that happens in the uterus. But as you can see, as I do that tightening, nothing is really happening here to our cervix. There's no shortening, there's no opening that's occurring. So in this video today, I hope to show you the difference between dilation and effacement as we get our real contractions going. So the difference between those Braxton Hicks squeezes and true contractions is where they come from. So a real contraction starts at the top of the uterus. And the reason that is because we have vertical fibers that run across the top of the uterus, like so, muscle fibers, as well as horizontal bands that go across the bottom of the uterus and get thicker, especially as we get to that cervix. So during pregnancy, these top muscle fibers are relaxed and not really doing anything, while these thicker horizontal bands near the bottom are holding baby up, where baby should be above the cervix. But those roles actually reverse as we get closer to, or not as we get closer, but as we enter labor. So these muscle fibers that run across the top of the uterus, they start to contract and shorten, which pulls up the sides of the uterus, pulls up those bands away from the cervix. And that's how we get that shortening and opening of the cervix in preparation for baby to be born. So I'm going to do a couple of those contractions now to kind of show you what happens when we get these muscle fibers at the top shortening and contracting. Okay, so just like a true contraction, you'd have a contraction and then rest, a contraction and then rest. And we can already see the thinning that's happening at the cervix level. And it's shortening as well. We're not getting a lot of opening yet, a lot of dilation. Now, in childbirth with humans and not a balloon, we don't necessarily just have all effacement happening and then dilation happening. They usually go hand in hand, and the rates at which happen for each person varies. What we do know from the research, though, is that a first-time laborer is going to have more of that effacement happening earlier versus experienced laborer. It's going to be happening more hand in hand. That said, by 6 centimeters dilation, which is the start of active labor, 95% of laborers will be 75% effaced. So most people will be quite effaced by the time they reach active labor. So a lot of effacement has to happen during that early phase of labor. So when we hear of people kind of getting stuck or reporting not a lot of progress as they labor in those beginning stages, they're getting stuck at 3 centimeters, 2 or 3 centimeters, and feeling like they're not making a lot of progress. What they probably are making progress in is effacement. And while those numbers are noted, if you're getting cervical checks, they're likely not being reported to you. So you may not feel like you're making progress, though you are. So a couple more contractions. We're now about fully effaced here. There's just this little rim here. And again, no dilation, which is not what would be happening in childbirth. You'd have some dilation by now, but for these purposes, you get an idea of what this effacement means, what versus what dilation means. So I'm gonna do a few more contractions and try not to jump when a baby ping pong ball is born here. So no real dilation happening yet. It's hard to get that with the ping pong ball. Oh, and out came the baby ping pong ball. So that's the difference between dilation and effacement. I have a ton of more info in the post that went up with this video. It talks about average length of labor according to the research, what can increase and decrease length of labor, as well as what dilation is, what effacement is, and more on why effacement is important and an important marker of progress, not just dilation. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.